Hi everybody and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. Quick info before we begin. Today's video has 2 stories and both of them have updates. Now let's get started. This post is from the subreddit Am I the A-hole and it's by user ThrowawayUncle44. Am I the a-hole for choosing to go on a trip with my girlfriend instead of taking care of my struggling brother's son? For context, my 24 male brother, Luke, 31 male, his wife, Emma, 28 female, and their son, Kyle, 4 male, moved to my city last year because Emma got a new job. They would occasionally ask me to watch Kyle because I work from home with very flexible hours. I personally do not like kids at all, but I was happy to do it at the time because I wanted to help them. It was not that often, maybe once or twice every 2 weeks, and Kyle was very well behaved. Now, the issue started near the end of last year when Luke decided to change careers. He was previously working remotely as well. His new job required him to go to work a lot more often and make substantially less money. This left them depending on me more and more to take care of Kyle. It went from once or twice every 2 weeks to around 3 days out of the week. To make matters worse, Kyle's behavior changed drastically. To be completely honest, I can barely stand the kid anymore, constantly running around and screaming while I'm trying to work and just overall being a little crap. My sister-in-law Emma was over the other day picking up Kyle and made some comments about getting rid of some of the dangerous furniture in my house, like tables with glass edges and stuff, so that my home is safer for their son, and made a joke about baby-proofing my house because they're planning to have a daughter. This pissed me off, but I didn't say anything. The situation hit a breaking point last Friday when I was talking about the 1.5 week long trip I was going to go with my girlfriend on the 15th. Me and my girlfriend like to travel somewhere nice at least once a month. We could not the past couple of months because of Kyle, but I promised my girlfriend we would go somewhere exotic for Valentine's. Upon hearing this, they got pretty mad, saying who was gonna take care of Kyle, that I need to stop these childish trips, and that I need to take responsibility because I'm an uncle now. I'm not gonna lie, after hearing this, I effing snapped. I said that their demon child isn't my responsibility, and I'm not just gonna give up my life because they effed without a condom. It got pretty obscene from there and some horrible things were said. They left and we are no longer on speaking terms. My parents and Emma's parents are on their side and extremely angry at me for refusing to pull my weight. My parents said that this is my duty and I should be sacrificing everything to help them. It's honestly got me really down and I've cried my eyes pretty much every day since seeing those messages from my family. I'm starting to wonder if I really should be taking more responsibility. Am I the a-hole for choosing my trips over my brother and my nephew? Well, OP, of course you are not the a-hole, and it's not that you're choosing your trips over your brother and your nephew. You're choosing between having a healthy and a toxic relationship with everyone in your family. How is it that it is your responsibility because you are an uncle now? Which, by the way, is such a stupid argument, and you were already doing enough as an uncle by taking care of their kid 2 to 3 times every 2 weeks. Why is it that you need to sell or change some of your furniture or baby-proof your apartment because your brother and your sister-in-law decided that they wanted to have another kid? It is their responsibility. Their children are their responsibility. Now, I understand that they're struggling, but who told your brother he had to change careers? Nobody. He did that because he wanted to. Maybe he should have thought it through. Maybe he now has to face the consequences of his actions. Either way, it doesn't matter. Their hardships have nothing to do with you. It is all by their own choice. You know, in these types of situations, I ask myself sometimes, how would they have done it if I wasn't here? Or if the person that they're leaning on or taking advantage of isn't living close to them. Would your brother have changed careers? I'm guessing not. Would they be planning a second child if they know they can't provide for it or properly care for it? I want to say not, but they don't sound that smart. Would they have tried to find someone else like you to take advantage of? I think yes. And finally, OP, regarding your parents and your sister-in-law's parents, you can just leave them on red or screen their calls because whatever they have to say is irrelevant. So in summary, OP, no, you're not the a-hole. Your brother and your sister-in-law are incredibly entitled and sound like idiots, and the parents sound like they should be on the same idiot boat. So what do you guys think about this whole thing? What is your judgment regarding this situation? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's move on to the community comments to see what they said. Throwaway Cheese 2021 says, not the a-hole. Your family is guilting you because none of them can be asked to take care of the son either. Sorry this is happening to you, OP, but stand your ground. You're 100% right. Sounds like your brother and sister-in-law have become entitled to your help and forgotten what it's like to be solely responsible for their kid, so they've begun to rely on your help. But as you so rightfully pointed out, this is totally their problem. Your parents are probably joining in because they know if you stop looking after Kyle altogether, they'll be relied upon a lot more. Also, regarding your outburst, yeah, maybe not the best way to react, but they pushed you into the breaking point and you snapped. Also, they were being rude and unreasonable in their expectations, so I don't expect you to respond 100% calmly and rationally either. Deep Fried Mia says, not the a-hole. The family is worried they will somehow have to pick up the slack if you don't. The slack is your brother's kid he can't care for without your help and the threat they may soon have too. Grandparents are usually the source for free babysitting, so maybe your parents and Emma's parents can step up. Otherwise, it sounds like your brother moved to a city he cannot afford to live in because he can't afford childcare with 2 incomes. So he should probably think about moving home. Since they decided to have your parents and your sister-in-law's parents gaslight you, you have the perfect excuse to never babysit again because they are too much drama. Lumita says, not the a-hole. I can't stand the I need to stop these childish trips and that I need to take more responsibility because I'm an uncle now. LMAO, like you made the kid with them, like you're into some kind of 3-way parenting situation. It's one thing to watch your nephew once in a while, it's a whole other thing to watch the kid 3 times a week every week. They need to stop their childish demands and get a nanny for Kyle as soon as possible because they're parents now. Plus, it would be better for Kyle. You're not focusing on him while watching him, and that's completely normal since 1, you're working from home, and most important, 2, it's not your damn responsibility. Sweater Kittens 5425 says, absolutely not the a-hole. He is not your responsibility and you have no weight to pull in regard to him. You are child free and the only responsibility you have is to yourself. You are under no obligation to watch him. You are his uncle, not his father. I am assuming you've been watching him for free too, since you made no mention of whether or not they've been paying you. So you have been helping them out. It is not your fault they chose to have a child. That was their choice, so it's their responsibility. Tell both sets of parents that if they're truly concerned, they can watch him. I'm sorry everyone is mad at you, but stand your ground on this. You might have to go low contact with your parents for a while until they pull their heads out of their asses. Best of luck, and have fun on your trip. Crock of Pot says, not the a-hole. Sounds like your and Emma's parents need to start doing their duty and watching their grandchild. If they're not willing to do that, all their huffing and puffing that you need to watch Kyle is just hot air. This is not your child and you have no weight to pull. This just reeks of trying to gang up on you because you're the youngest and you're nice and they think you're going to cave. Stay strong and keep your boundaries. Alright, well the community agrees that OP is not the a-hole and most were really quick to point out that this is not OP's responsibility and it's the parents' responsibility. Now, OP didn't respond to anything or give any edits, so we don't have any additional context, which means we move straight on to the update, but before, here's another playlist that you can enjoy after this video. Go check it out. Now let's move on with the update. Thank you everyone for the comments. After reading through them for about an hour, it kinda helped me realize how toxic my relationship is with my family. As many of you mentioned, yes, my brother is the golden child of the family, and thinking about it now, that favoritism is the main reason I wanted to move away from them so badly in the first place. Now, some context before we move on. The city we live in is very expensive, and they really did not plan well before coming here. It worked out for them when my brother had his job and they could get by fairly comfortably, but his new job is making things difficult for them. I think they're definitely struggling, but they also have taken very little action themselves to better the situation and are totally trying to use me. We're Israeli, but I moved to California for school when I was 18 on a scholarship. My sister-in-law is American and got her dream job here, so they moved here for her to do that. My parents still live in Israel and his in-laws live in Wyoming. My brother lived in Wyoming with them for 2 years before moving here. I think my parents are still pissed off at me for moving away when they probably expected me to stay and be their slave. I didn't fully realize how dysfunctional my relationship is with my family before posting here, cause I don't really talk about it much with other people in real life. Anyway, I had a talk with my brother and my sister-in-law where I apologized for calling their child a demon and for the condom remark. They accepted my apology, but they did not apologize to me. Apparently, ours and my sister-in-law's parents were not just telling them, but encouraging them to use me for help the whole time. I told them how exhausted and frustrated I was and how much this whole crap show has hurt me and that I would not be watching Kyle anymore, period, and that they need to figure something else out. They did not take it well and my sister-in-law started yelling again. After some arguing, my sister-in-law said that if I would not watch Kyle, the least I could do is pay for his childcare and help with some of their other expenses, since I have the money to zip off to a different country every month. And there it is. I was honestly appalled. I would not have minded helping them out financially, but the tone of her voice as she said it was just infuriating. The only thing they heard was that I would not continue helping them. They didn't give a crap about anything else I said. I just got up and left their house without saying a word. I wanted to leave before I completely exploded again. 10 minutes after I left, my phone started buzzing with them and my parents, and I just put it on Dungeons and Dragons. No wait, do not disturb. I read a lot of comments saying I should go no contact, and I really did not want to have to do that, but they are very clearly not interested in respecting me as a human being, so that's it. I will not be speaking to my family until they want to genuinely apologize to me. Thanks guys, smiley face. Oh wow, the entitlement meter just went to the roof. If you're not gonna step up and watch Kyle, then you need to pay for his childcare because you have the money. It's one of those things that either make you angry, make you worry for the other person because you think they're having some sort of a stroke, or you just kind of feel bad for them because you know they're idiots. Regardless, it's not your responsibility and they can go deal with it themselves. OP, good for you for setting and enforcing your boundaries, and good for you for just standing up and leaving when it got stupid. Hope you enjoyed your vacation and all the best in the future, OP. Thanks for sharing. Now let's move on to the next post that also has an update. This post is from the subreddit Am I the A-hole, and it's by using the annoying friend. Am I the a-hole for not checking with the bride about my allergy thrice? Hello everyone, English is not my first language, so there may be some errors. Apologies. It was my cousin's wedding a couple of days ago. I am allergic to peanuts, so 2 days before the wedding, I asked her if there were any dishes served that had peanuts in them so that I could avoid eating that. She told me she'll check with the caterers and informed me on the day of the wedding. Fast forward to the day, I asked her which dishes had the nut in them and she told me none of them did. After lunch, I start to feel my throat closing in and my skin itching. Thankfully, I had my EpiPen with me and stabbed it into my thigh. All this had attracted quite the attention and people were surrounding me. I was fine but went to the hospital just to be safe. I later got texts from the bride and her siblings about how it was incredibly selfish of me to steal the attention away from the bride and a bunch of cuss words. My family thinks it was her who endangered my life and should apologize. She says I should have just sucked it up. I was sure I wasn't in the wrong, but now I'm not so sure. So Reddit, am I the a-hole? Well, OP, from how you're presenting the situation, I would say no, you are not the a-hole, but I do have some questions. However, the way that your cousin and her family have reacted is beyond ridiculous. Especially the way that she says that you should have sucked it up, because of course an allergic reaction is something voluntary that you can just control. And also all of those comments about you stealing the attention away from the bride. It's not like you did that on purpose. I mean, if somebody does that on purpose, like actually give themselves an allergic reaction to steal the attention from a bride, then that person needs to be hospitalized, but not just because of the allergy, but because they're nuts. Now, the only question I have, and I hope it doesn't come out wrong, is Why couldn't you, OP, go ask the kitchen staff or the caterer themselves if there are any nuts in the food they were serving that day? I know that your main contact to the wedding was the bride herself, and asking her would seem like the right thing to do, but at the day of the wedding, I'm pretty sure she also has a lot of other stuff in her mind. Now, I'm not excusing the way she reacted and that stupid comment she made. I'm just saying that there are other things you could have done to make extra sure there were no peanuts in the food. Anyways, what do you guys think about this whole situation? What is your judgment? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's move on to the community comments to see what they said. Time Forgotten One says, not the a-hole, but you shouldn't have waited until 2 days before the wedding to notify them of your allergy. What would you have done if the answer was all of them? And if you have such a strong allergic reaction, you really need to be more careful with how you approach eating at events like this. It's up to you to do due diligence on the food as well. You should have asked the waitstaff to check the food that you were being served and not taken the word of a more than likely stressed and busy bride on the day of her wedding. Wolf Goddess 77 says, not the a-hole. Wow, how selfish of you to steal the spotlight with your anaphylactic shock. Maybe next time, leave your allergies at home. Geez, some people, peanut allergies can be life-threatening. You had no other choice but to use your EpiPen. You informed her of your allergy twice and were giving false information. This isn't on you in any way. Lil Bear says, not the a-hole. You asked twice and your cousin told you nothing had nuts in it. She obviously didn't check. You didn't have an allergic reaction intentionally, and it's not something you can just suck up. So your family can apologize to you, or you just have to let it go. But in no scenario are you in the wrong. OP's edit. So many people have asked why I waited till the last 2 days to ask her, and I did that because my whole family knows I'm allergic to peanuts, and during occasional gatherings I'll ask, or they'll tell me if something they prepared had peanuts or was prepared in a utensil that had traces of it. It asked cross-contamination. I didn't want her to change her menu for me and would have eaten nothing if there weren't anything. I don't mind because I don't want to inconvenience people just because of me and have her plan Haribai around me. Also, in our culture, we don't really have RSVPs, and especially those that ask about your allergies. Lol. I just avoid eating when I go to a wedding that aren't my close friends or families. Also, I couldn't possibly ask the caterers as the teenage boys and girls of the family serve the food, which was arranged by the caterers. Alright, well, the community agrees that OP is not the a-hole, but there's different perspectives regarding the shared responsibility of the whole situation. Now, OP does tell us at the end of the edit that they couldn't possibly ask the caterers because the teenage boys and girls of the family are the ones that served the food that was arranged by the caterers. Now, it could be the language barrier, but I'm a bit confused by that statement. I'm pretty sure somebody from the catering company would still be present at the wedding. So I would think in the worst case that OP couldn't possibly get in front of the caterer themselves to ask them. They could ask as a favor to somebody from the waitstaff to go ask the caterer if there are any peanuts in the food. But regardless, let's now move on to the update to see how this story ends. I contacted my aunt, the bride's mother, because I couldn't reach my cousin. She blocked me, and asked her what really happened because in the midst of all this, I wasn't really sure if it was the caterer's problem or if she simply didn't check. Some people also told me to sue her if that was the case. Turns out she did, and the food the caterers prepared actually didn't contain peanuts or traces of it. What happened was that they had ordered desserts from elsewhere, and yeah, she forgot to ask them. When she realized what happened after I went to the hospital, I guess she thought people will blame her, so she went into offense mode. I'm not sure still. Her mom is sort of old-fashioned, so she again asked me if I could have controlled it. Lol. I guess that's all for now. My cousin told some of the family members that I had made a mountain out of a small rash, which is why they went against me, I guess? I'm still confused, to be honest. Some of the stories don't add up. Anyways, so the people who told me that going to the hospital after using an EpiPen is a must, thank you. I really did not know that, and my doctor told me to go just in case. Also, we don't have RSVPs in our culture. I'm not from the West. This was also my first allergic reaction, as I have been avoiding peanuts since the day I found out I couldn't eat them, and thankfully hadn't consumed them accidentally, so I may have panicked a little and couldn't do the EpiPen thing quietly. This may not be a perfect update, but yeah, I'm not mad at my cousin about the allergic reaction, but about how she blamed me later on. Smiley face. Okay, OP, yeah, it's not a perfect update, but at least we now know that your cousin is a major idiot apart from being an a-hole. And again, an a-hole because of the reaction of going on the offense because she would think people would blame her. Anyways, it's a good thing to know that you're okay, OP, so all the best in the future and thank you for sharing. Take care. And that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch it. Now, if you've gotten to this point in the video, I assume that you like these stories that I'm reading out, so here are a couple more that you might enjoy. And if you don't have any time to watch another story right now, save it for later, and also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.